So here we've got a question involving histograms. So as soon as we see that word histogram and we see that there's tables and graphs, then we've got to think about the concepts around what histograms are about. Well, we've got to remember a couple of key concepts. The frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by the class interval width, and the area of a bar is equal to the frequency. So those are the two kind of concepts that tend to work around histogram questions. So let's have a look what the question wants. Well, it's saying use the histogram to complete the table. Well, they've been kind to us in this question. They've actually told us what the frequency density is, and because of this idea that the area of the bar is equal to the frequency, because literally what we're doing, remember, is we're timesing the frequency density by the class interval width to give us the actual frequency. So that's the same as doing the frequency density times the width, which is the same as the area of the rectangle. So between 0 and 5 we can see that the frequency density was 8 and it's got a width of 5 there. So the frequency is going to be equal to 8 times 5, which will give us 40 there. 5 to 10, the frequency density was 12. So we're going to be doing 12 times 5, 60. This bar had a width of 10 and a height of, right, we've got to be careful with the scale here. So what have we got? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 didn't work. So we've got 5 little squares for each 4. So the scale is going to be 5 divided by 4 is 0.8. So this bar here, 4, 4.8, 5.6. So it's got a height of 5.6 and it's got a width of 10. So that's going to be 56. So again, it's really important to work out the scale of the graphs when you're using them. So just to repeat, we had a distance there of 4 units and we have 5 little squares, and 4 divided by 5 is the same as 0.8. So each square went up 0.8. Between 20 and 40 we can see that again we've gone up 2 squares, which is the 0.8, so it's got a frequency density height of 0.8 times the width. Well, between 20 and 40 is 20. 8 times 2 is 16, so the answer here will be, we're doing 80% of 20, so it's going to be 16. The frequency table below shows the information about books sold in a second bookshop, and basically then the question's asking us to draw a histogram to represent this information. So here then we're going to have to calculate the frequency density, because when we're drawing a histogram we must remember that we plot the frequency density on the vertical scale and the continuous variable along the horizontal scale. So if we look at this then, frequency density was given by the formula frequency divided by class interval. So for this one we're going to be doing 80 divided by 5, which is 16. And this one we're going to be doing a frequency of 20 divided by a width of 5, so that's going to be 4. Here we've got 24 divided by a width of 10, so 2.4. And here we've got 96 divided by a width of 20. 96 divided by 10 is 9.6, and a half of that is 4.8. So those will be our frequency densities, and to plot the graph then we need to draw bars. So here we've got 0 to 5, but we need to scale up here first. So we look at our numbers, and the largest frequency density we've got to plot is 16. So if we think every 5 little squares, every 5 little squares, every 5 little squares, yep, so a scale of 4, 8, 12, 16 will work, with obviously 0 there. So let's have a look then. So we've done a scale of 5 little squares for 4, so similar to before, when each little square is going to be worth 0.8 when it comes to working out where we do the plotting. So we got the first bar goes to 16, so 16, You should use your rulers, of course. I'm going to get away with teacher's license, so that'll be 0 to 5. And the next bar goes between 5 and 10 and goes up to 4. And the next bar is 10 to 20 and it goes up to 2.4. So 0.8, 1.6, 2.4, so it's going to be 3 little squares, and it goes across to 20. And the last bar was 4.8, so 4.8, and it's going from 20 to 40, so we're going to go all the way across the graph this time. It won't always be all the way across the graph, watch for that. This one just go to 40, so that's fine. And then we complete the histogram, so might shade it in a little bit so that we can actually see more clearly what it looks like. But that's the histogram drawn. Just got to remember to do the frequency density calculations to actually plot a histogram with unequal intervals. And once you've got the frequency densities, work out the scale that you could use on the side, and then plot the bars accordingly.